What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? This is Wax. What's up, baby? This is Wax on 89.7, the Jazz Station. And when I say jazz, I mean smooth jazz. When I say smooth jazz, I mean smooth like butter jazz. When I say smooth like butter jazz, I mean smooth up in that ass with a stick of butter jazz. Nah, for real. This is Wax. Wax's podcast, episode 93. This is Thursday, August 13th. Probably going to drop on Friday, August 14th. But this past weekend, Saturday, August, you do the math. I guess that would be the 8th. I had some special guests in my studio. The rap group, Palmer Squares from Chicago, Illinois. Check them out on YouTube, Twitter. I'd recommend checking them out on YouTube. They got a lot of fucking good videos. If you enjoy people that can just rap for a long time, say some pretty incredible rhymes, say some incredible lines. They're not mimes. If they were mimes, they wouldn't be saying shit. Yeah. But had them come through, and we pretty much just drank beer and talked, and we actually recorded the talk and turned it into a podcast. You can actually hear, especially me, you can hear that I get a little drunker throughout the episode. But it's a bit long. I'm going to warn you. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bit of a long podcast, but, and when they left, I was like, oh, I'll just edit it, chop it up. And then I was like, I actually did cut a little bit off the beginning of it. So it was even longer than it, but I guess I'm replacing that beginning with the bullshit that I'm saying currently. So it's pretty much going to be the same length. But I told them I was going to edit it together and take out anything that was slow and try to make it a little quicker, but I don't know how to do that. I listened to some of it, and I just decided to let it go as it is. So it's a great thing to listen to if you got a long drive. A great thing to listen to if you have suicidal thoughts and you're hoping to go the way of killing yourself. It's a great thing to listen to, if you got a shitty job and you just want to have the time go past. We did get into some interesting conversations. There's some jam band talk in there. There's some good stuff for people that want to that are aspiring artists themselves. We talked a lot about that. I think we got into some dumb shit at the end. And well, here's the conversation. He says what now?
He says, I'm breaking down potatoes like I'm fucking Galileo.
And then
this
he
is
rhymed
all
mashed
apparently
potatoes
written by
again.
somebody else. And then he says, all up in the sky like I'm fucking mashed potatoes, which is rhyming potato with potato essentially.
It's just odd coming
But
out of that dude's
saying
face.
that clouds look like mashed potatoes.
The oddest thing to me about that is you're saying that somebody else wrote it.
Well, that's what came out like the day after I haven't looked at any proof or anything, but that's all people saying. He did some other thing months ago or a year or two ago that was like
Rapping something someone else had written.
It was like an amateur anime thing, or maybe it was an amateur film thing, and he ripped off an anime. It was some shit like that, though, like an indie.
Oh right,
project
plagiarism.
That like within a day or two, people were like, "Yo, this is a whole, like almost word for word, somebody else's idea that he got." But like, I don't know what the fuck people do that in 2015 with Google and stuff.
Because you're Shia LaBeouf and you're on top of the world.
Yeah, but now. Like, that just has people thinking you're a dick who...
Yeah.
Right, I don't understand that at all.
I don't know what's up with Shia LaBeouf, man. Like I said earlier, I don't know shit about Shia LaBeouf. It's a weird name.
Yeah, he calls him Shia LaBeouf.
I like Shia LaBeouf. Sounds better.
Boof Diggins.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
What is he? And he's an actor. Did action Transformers?
We're teaching Wax
Wax has no idea.
He's a fucking actor that did Transformers and he did a children's movie.
Well, he did like a show on the Disney Channel, and then from that got something, and then got Transformers, I think. But I think Transformers is like the only fucking big thing he did, and now he's just like popular for being
weird.
Like
he's like a socialite.
Just keeps popping up in a viral video acting like odd.
Seems like
in
because
public.
it comes off like he wants to be construed as weird, and people like that to me aren't weird. Like anytime you meet a girl, it's just like, I'm so random. It's like, those are the least random people ever. So it appears like he wants to be seen as like this weird character, but it really seems put on. And like he's got some other video going around where he's just like, it's supposed to be motivational, but he's just telling people, just do it! Like talking about their dreams or something.
He's an actor, man. He's going in.
Just accomplish your dreams! Something is like, we can't all be child stars on Disney and then accomplish our dreams because of that.
Yeah, started from the bottom.
We can all be child stars on Disney.
Well, I guess.
Could have.
We can.
Thanks a lot,
But
Mom.
once we grow up.
It'd be
Like
tough
Drake
now.
saying he started from the bottom. It's like, again, bro.
He meant like the bottom of that ladder rung. You know what I mean? Like,
It's still up there.
the bottom of third base.
Working at Walgreens to me isn't necessarily like the bottom unless it's like a slum ass Walgreens.
He worked at Walgreens?
No, like in the video started
It was like
the
convenient,
most
yeah.
bottom they show in that video is like a guy tagging like shit at Walgreens. But it's like, I bet you this guy has a car that he drives to work to and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Right,
he doesn't
right.
Look too, this looks like he got a haircut recently and shit.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot. It's weird. There's a lot of people I know out here that have never had a regular job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We still have regular jobs in Chicago and then come out here and it's like, how could we make this work? Because it's
Well,
lucrative. It's interesting.
Let's discuss this because
Yeah.
it saddens me that you guys have regular jobs. That saddens me.
When's the last time you had a
Saddens
regular
us.
job? Or what you would consider...
2009 or maybe 2008. 2009.
Did you consider yourself a professional musician before that? Or once you were like out and covering all your bases off of music, is that when you... Or do you even consider yourself a professional musician? Because that's what it is to me, is like not having to punch a clock and, you know, being able to do what you enjoy and move around and then like...
I think
Like
that
we're musicians,
yeah.
we're just not on a level where we can not, you know, it doesn't comfortably cover the bills.
I think the definition of professional is that you make your living off of it.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, I've been that. My last job was I actually lost one job I had because I was a delivery guy and I got a DUI. And then right after that, I won some money doing a contest. And then I was at the point where like I thought I could maybe be a professional, but I couldn't. So I
Right.
had to get a job. I worked in
I feel like
in
we're
retail.
sort of there, yeah.
I worked in retail, and it fucking sucked. But then a couple months after that was my last job, and a couple months later, I've been really lucky though. Like I've had money making shit that was
Yeah, you're
pretty
also
random.
like it seems a bit more ambition to where like you entered contests and shit, and like put yourself out there
That
way more
contest
than
was-
us.
The contest I entered was because I got the DUI and I didn't have any money and I lost my job, so I did a A1 steak sauce
I
contest.
remember that.
Yeah,
A1
absolutely.
steak sauce, and there was $5,000.
I was
and
gonna
I was
ask
like,
if it was the vibe shit.
nah, that one
I
was.
think
bad,
A1 was
yeah.
after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember the A1 shit.
Yep.
The vibe when I did the vibe contest. I had given up.
Yeah, when was that?
I had given up the professional.
Or
musician.
Prince E.
No, it was
Prince
it was a girl. It was a girl who won. I can't remember her name. You said just 'cause fucking girl, bitch. What a cunt.
I think we like entered 3 contests, and every time like came in second or some shit, and then finally just decided like let's stop wasting bars.
Yeah, well, it's not like it was like a big
Yeah,
5K
I'd always get like
cash
drawn
prize.
out too.
It was
It's
just
like,
exposure.
oh, we decided to go to a second round thing. It's like, now I gotta write more bars.
I
And
feel
I'm
like
still
you
not gonna
guys.
win.
I feel like you guys are right on the verge of not having to have a regular job. Are you?
That's what I was saying.
You
Like
know
when
what
you
I
were
mean?
saying
Like, for
the
you- for
vibe
y'all-
contest, you're like, or when you thought you were almost there, and then you worked with like, we're the furthest along we've been as the Palmer Squares, but it's also we're not just gonna put our 2 weeks in just yet. We're like, and thank goodness it isn't retail. Like
Ugh.
he delivers food. I work an office job, but we've both worked like
I'm a pizza
retail before, and
delivery
it is brutal.
Delivery was I had tons of
I'm
delivery
the
jobs.
pizza guy.
I worked at Domino's. I worked at a deli in Maryland, but I worked when I first moved here to LA. I worked at Yummy, which is Yummy.com is like groceries. It's like a
Word.
grocery store, and that was always my favorite job.
Pod.
There's nobody fucking with you in your car. There's nobody yelling
drive
at
one
you.
of those
You're
refrigerated
alone.
trucks?
You drive a refrigerated truck?
No, did you?
No.
Oh,
At
just
the time, I
grabbing-
just drove my car. But now they have
They got those like
Honda Element joints. Yeah.
Peapod refrigerated trucks that deliver your groceries.
Really?
No, I just deliver pizza in the back of my car. Which, yeah, going from, like, especially, like, coming home from this trip and having to work this week.
Oh, yeah.
Like, going from 200-plus kids shouting all your lyrics and, like, throwing their hands up and shit, and then on Wednesday you're ringing a doorbell with a pizza in your hand and, like, cutie walking by is looking at you like the loser who delivers pizza for a living.
Like, you don't
It's
know
like,
me.
What happened?
don't
Have
know
you
the
ever
real man.
have you ever delivered pizza to somebody who recognized you?
Once, which was to a head shop, but he was a dude who took pictures of us at one of our shows and was saying like you look familiar, and then I just said like, you ever heard of the Palmer Squares? And he was like, yeah, I saw you guys.
Damn.
But no, I've waited. You're always like
You're hoping
ego, hoping every doorbell is just
the
like,
hot mom who's alone by herself is like, I'm a huge
Yeah.
terminal knowledge fan.
I ordered
nah,
an
just
extra
some
large
nerd with a
sausage.
bong. It's like, oh my god, you want to hit?
Yeah, I never had anybody recognize me when I was delivering, but that was definitely before anybody knew who I was anyway. But now that I moved back to the Valley, this area, and all the people that work at places recognize me. Like the dude who works at Target recognizes me.
Just
The
the
dude who
spots
works
you
at
go-
the
okay.
grocery store recognizes me. Like just normal kids, you know?
Yeah. It's like, did you think they were familiar with you before you lived here, or the fact that you're just out and about more?
I think
people
it's
are
just
more aware of you?
the kind of people that live here. And I've also made a
More
lot of
plugged in,
Valley
or
references
tuned
in
in.
my songs too. You know, I
Yeah.
talk about the Valley a lot. But people live here more normal. Like where in Venice it was a little bit more hipster, upper echelon. You know.
Yeah, I mean, our goals or whatever are pretty expansive, but the like minimal shit is like just to pay the bills off strictly this,
Yeah.
to not have to be able to devote all of our time.
You know,
to
it's an
writing
interesting conversation I feel like we could have, because there's a lot of motherfuckers that listen to this podcast that are like aspiring. I mean, forget musicians. There's photographers.
Yeah.
It's just aspiring artists in general. Why don't we talk about like what are the revenue streams that you're working with now? You know what I mean? Like for me, there's like, you know, there's like Spotify streaming, iTunes sales, shows,
Yeah.
merchandise.
We
And then like there's other shit too, like that you get if you get deals and
yeah.
shit like that, songwriting shit.
We built our, online following first. So if we post something, it's cool to know that we have like this foundation of clicks when we put a new YouTube video out or SoundCloud track of an upcoming release or something. But it's just a lot of that, and I think the moving around and coming out and doing a trip like this and visiting other states and playing, shows outside of where we're from is what we've been lacking on the most. And we don't have like direct booking support, and we set this trip up pretty independently.
Don't even have a booker.
Yeah. But we've got like ourselves and our manager, and we got our homie Drew that we were telling you about that engineers for us, that always is trying to like help out. But it's just, like a small handful of people. So it's very rare when we get to go somewhere. And we played a show in LA last night, and it was what we consider to be one of the best shows just in terms of support and turnout and reaction, where like you get nervous, you still get like pre-show jitters, and then you're up there and like almost everybody is singing, not just like a little, like they're like rapping every word, and I'm like, I don't even need to remember my shit right now.
turns
This is
pre-show
amazing.
jitters into like, it's a really euphoric feeling
Yeah.
that I've like, that's really new to us, but that I've always thought like as a writer has to be like the fucking bomb. It's like watching I was watching like Justin Timberlake or something at Madison Square Garden, and just like to be able to put the mic out to the whole crowd and not even have to say when you're I'm experiencing that shit last night. It like
That's
totally
amazing.
clears all your like,
Like, what was I so worried
I was
about?
nervous
Like,
and shit. And it
because you don't know. We
gives
never
you this
really
confidence
did
of, like,
that.
the
Yeah.
whole room is on my side.
We don't know what to
yeah.
expect when we show up to the show, and then when that's what it turns out to be. Like, someone was asking us recently, like, what's a tour like? Aren't you just like having a ball basically? And I'm like, well, yeah, we're trying to enjoy ourselves, but also there's like a lot of anxiety and like making sure that we can find rides and get to places on time, and like there's a sound issue, and I don't know, like there was one show that didn't have pre-sale available, so it was only based on at the door the night of. So we're like, well, there's no way to track this. So it's there's always a lot of like fear and anxiety about like just being somewhere you've never been before and like getting a ride from a stranger. Like I could get my head chopped off right now, but thank goodness he likes my music and he took me to the show. So just, I don't know, getting that type of unseen love in a new spot it's enjoyable.
They
Want to
say
do that
that,
some more.
They say that Jerry Garcia had that shit every single show. He would throw up before almost every show, and it wasn't because he was nervous to play. He thought nobody was coming.
I threw up last
Isn't that
night before we
weird?
went on stage, but I think it was just because I
Out of
hadn't
fear or
eaten and I was like
heroin?
dry heaving out of
what?
heat and anxiety.
From fear or from the heroin?
Probably both. Probably both.
Because I know he was a heroin addict towards the end.
Yeah, probably both.
But,
But he used to talk
didn't
about
read
he
that.
used to talk about how he would think people weren't gonna show up to the fucking Dead show, which I would think is sold out ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean I've never heard that, and that's like goofy sounding to me, considering they had like people who literally toured with the band,
Yeah.
not with the band, but who toured in the parking lot and shit. It's like people walk around outside of your shows with their fingers
Yeah,
up because they're
yeah.
desperate to get in. They've created a term called a miracle for people who
Yeah.
get the honor to go into your show.
Who's got my miracle?
So why would he be?
Would
I
you
don't know.
consider your
Yeah.
entrance to the Fare Thee Well a miracle? How does that
No,
work?
I paid.
Oh,
I
okay.
got into the Dead
Last show
last
of
month.
Soldier
Played
Field.
3 shows at Soldier Field.
Oh,
They were
nice.
supposed to be the last
Were
show.
those the ones? Those the ones that were with Trey that they live streamed?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Fairly
I saw
Well tour.
some of that.
So last night I went.
To drop off
And-
our roommate, not even with a ticket.
Yeah, I didn't even have a ticket. I'm a jam band festy kid and shit, but the past 3 or 4 years we've kind of like totally fallen off, and I haven't been to any jam band show in a couple years. So I figured it's super like money. I'll let the real heads get their shit, and I got a fucking wealthy deadhead uncle who I was like keeping my fingers crossed, like he's gonna hit me up with some tickets. But our roommate needed a ride, so I went, dropped him off, and figured I'm fucking here. Like I gotta walk around with my one up, and then once we get there, it's like 1,000 ones in the air,
Mhm.
and there's like one ticket. Like a guy walking around with a ticket for $550.
Jesus.
So my buddy went in, and probably 10 minutes before they took stage, I was in front of the stadium basically deciding. I was texting another friend in the area, like, we both didn't get in, I'll meet you up at Michigan in 15 minutes and shit. And somehow came across a kid who's like probably just working for the event, like doesn't even work at Soldier Field, like looked 19 or 18, and he's one of those kids with the job is to go around changing garbage bags and all
Right.
the garbages. And he told me $100, follow him, and dude like walked. He told me wait at door 20. All the doors on the side have like numbers. So he's like, door 23, that's your door. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Just like snuck him in the
5
side
minutes later,
entrance.
door 23 opens, and it's that kid. Greased his
Damn.
palms and got like right up to the crowd, like as they took stage and shit.
Was it dope?
Oh, it was incredible.
It was all the original, but except for obviously Trey.
Yeah. And
I've been listening to
think
like
they're,
Spotify. Spotify did this, the American Beauty album. They now have that album with all their little like, it's like 40 tracks because they before every song like Bob Weir and the engineer and shit, the guy who mixed it like talk about it. It's pretty dope.
oh, nice.
But it's fucked up though because for some reason whenever I hear it on Spotify, it won't play it in a row. You know what I mean? So you'll hear like him talking about a song and then like 10 songs later that's the song.
Oh, right.
It's fucking dumb, but
I actually
probably
never
my
really
fault.
used. A lot of fans ask us like, is your next project gonna be on Spotify or these certain outlets where we know because we're trying to get them there that they should be, but like I have no personal experience with Spotify.
No shit.
I've like never used it. I've logged into it once just to like link it to our other accounts so that
they're going in with that bass.
yeah, thump thump the thump the
Yeah.
thump. But yeah, like it's I know it's like the thing, but there's just so much stuff even like that I'm out of the loop on.
Yeah, I
I've
know
never
we're on
used
all that
Spotify.
stuff.
Oh,
I've never
shit.
used
I use Spotify every day.
Rhapsody. We're on. I've never used
And the weird thing is like
Pandora.
Spotify is the one that I use. I every fucking day I use Spotify, and it's weird that they're coming out like Apple Music is competing with it. It's like, why would I fucking change? Like it's like if you came out with a new Facebook, I'd be like, I got Facebook. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck, I need another
They
one.
did
for?
it with fucking MySpace.
Yeah, but MySpace was flawed. You know what I mean? Like if you
True.
fix flaws, you know what I mean?
Didn't Timberlake?
He tried to,
Take
yeah,
that
he fucking put
Is that
$10 million
over?
in it.
Is
Yeah.
that done?
I mean, I can't remember the last time I was there.
Is
Did
that
it
not
work?
still
Did
a
it
work in
not?
progress?
Y'all don't use, what do you, if you listen to music on an average whenever, like, what would you?
I do a lot of like torrent shit for like movies and shows and all that, so I do that for music too. But I'm a download like pirate kid
I don't.
from an early age, so that's the thing like that's fucked up about our era of music and shit, where it's like I can't really bitch when in that whole element of most of our mixtapes or whatever we got to release for free because most of the people are gonna download. I would download them too. Like I'd maybe buy 1 or 2 albums a year, and they're from like I bought Herb's album,
Nice.
Talib Kweli. I'll buy like when he releases a new album, and then maybe some like comedians I fuck with. But
I
like
think we both listen to a lot.
even people I'm a loyal fan of, I'll download.
Yeah,
their shit.
I doubt anybody like I bought y'all's shit. I buy dumb
appreciate
shit.
you.
I buy people like that I'm trying to support shit. It's just like you
Yeah,
said. But for me,
Basically, if I have
Spotify
a
is worth
link
it, dude.
to
Like,
them, or if they're my favorite. Otherwise, it's like my brother, he used to buy like fucking 10 CDs every couple weeks or some shit at Rolling Stone.
it changed the way that people would listen to music too. Like when I was a kid, and you had to, like, in order to hear the album, you had to go to the store, spend your money, buy it, and you'd listen to it a million
Listen to the
times.
booth and shit.
Like now, when I go to Spotify, I'm like, what do I want to listen to? My options are every fucking music ever created.
definitely.
So when I hear a new album, I don't like.
Right.
It's not like, and I know kids are like
It's
this
a
too.
lot
They don't
different.
listen to the new Drake album unless you're like a huge fan.
The
Like
way
they don't
that-
listen to it
the
100
way
times.
that we listen to.
They'll listen to it 5 times
Yeah.
and then they're on to the next.
I used
you
to
know?
buy an album. Like, I was into fucking Kid Rock,
Mhm.
and I would get a Kid Rock album and listen to it for like 5 months. And now
Yeah.
it's like a kid gets a Kid Rock album, and the next month he's like, "All right, what's next?" Kid?
First of all, there's no kid getting a Kid Rock album.
a grown man.
But you're right. It's every
1
like
month later, I
even
want
like
something new.
like Dr. Dre released an album yesterday. Next week, the story's gonna be somebody else releasing an
Mm-hmm.
album, and people, you know what I mean? Like people don't listen to the way they used to. It's
Yeah.
like there's just so much available. You know what
That's
I mean?
well, I mean, back to me not listening to Spotify. I tend to be kind of the opposite with stuff where like I'm still listening to the last 2 Kendrick albums, or like I feel like I'm always late to stuff, or I'll there's stuff that I really want to hear, but for the most part, I kind of listen to like the same types of things and like to revisit stuff that like the same stuff that got me into certain types of music or to hip hop. Like for hip hop, anyways, it'd be like Slum Village or Lil Brother and Fonte. And then I'll like fall off for a while, and then I'll be like, I'll go back and then like find those albums on my computer or like re-download them. And then it's like, I don't know, I just, I was going to say I have a harder time with, but I guess I'm just not as concerned with keeping up. Or there's too much new stuff to always like keep up with.
Right, and
fans show up
we're
at
all-
shows like, "Do you hear the new Joey Badass?"
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, not yet. Like
Yeah.
I'd like to. I'm not on it.
And it's fucked up because even when you do hear it, you're not listening to it like you should be.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you really have
definitely
to listen
different.
to an album 10 times. You know what I mean? Like,
And as like
you just
a-
listen to it casually and it kind of goes away, and you're like, yeah, that was dope, and you're like, name one line or song from it. You're like, I can't really remember.
And I don't
that.
listen to the music the same way I did like 10 years ago before we were working on music as much, to where it was like strictly as a fan, and now there's like this whole like feeling out the competition maybe, or just like
Yeah, I think there's an
inspiration. It's
added element when you're a writer.
and that's why we don't
I've
listen
heard,
to as
like,
much, because we also
comedians
don't want
say
like
that
outside
They don't want to
influence.
watch other comics.
Yeah, yeah,
So they don't
yeah.
end up biting. And to me, it's even more like when I listen to something that's really good, I want to stop listening to it because then it makes me feel shitty about my like. I
I've
get
had that feeling,
influenced to
sure.
like, damn, I gotta go get my bars up, turn this off, and go write some shit. And it's the two extremes, like either that or something so whack that I think the same thing.
I've told people the same thing. I've been just as inspired by hearing somebody whack
We used to
and-
watch
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
hearing something
jams.
amazing.
We would like I kind
I
of
think
grew
that's how
up
we started.
with my brother doing the same shit. I grew up with 2 older brothers who are musicians, and my brother's friends can't stand it. But my brother will spend hours in front of MTV watching shit that he hates to know what is out there that other people are loving and to know why they love it and why you hate it. You can't hate something unless you know like why you hate it and you've
Right.
researched it a little.
Right.
It's weird that kids will say like I hate Lil Wayne and you've never really listened to one full Lil
That
Wayne
was
song.
us in high school. Like
Right,
we
that's the
were,
fucking bars.
That's
we
the
would have
thing.
jumped on
don't
something
get-
immediately, and now I like with anything, like I always try to at least up front, put myself in the opposition or like in the other person's like, all right, what sense could I make of this before I just shit all over it? Or I'm not going to shit all over anything before, at least like, yeah, I'll listen to Drake's album. And I'm like, you know what? That was better than I thought it was going to be.
True.
And now I'm not going to shit on it like I would have as an ignorant high
when
school
you're
kid.
when you're young like that, your music choice is like really a part of who you are. Like you notice as you get older, like you said earlier, like you feel like you're a pizza delivery guy. You feel like whatever your office job is, like you kind of feel like your job. Kids aren't like that. Kids are associated with what kind of music they listen to, what kind of clothes they wear.
It hasn't gotten real
Like when
yet.
I was a kid, I fucking hated shit for no fucking reason.
Exactly.
I hated Bob Dylan.
I
hated the shit out of Bob Dylan. I'm still not the hugest Bob Dylan fan, but of course I see why he's good.
Yeah,
You
it
know
grows
what I
on
mean?
you, and then you get that point where you're like, hold on, let me look at it from the Bob Dylan fan perspective for a minute, because you don't even consider that when you're, I guess, younger and more naive or less exposed.
I hated Oasis. Granted,
Yeah.
I'm showing my age again, but like Oasis was really big when I was in high school, you know.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and
I
I
didn't mind
I
Oasis.
hated it because like
And
I
Bob Dylan, not
hated
bad
anything.
either.
I hated anything that I considered like at that time like soft. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
This
like,
isn't edgy. Like, you know,
Like, this is
what do you
I didn't like techno shit. I didn't like any ravey
no
shit.
distortion.
I
I
just
don't
thought it
want to
was-
hear it.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I was raised on punk and like hardcore shit, going to like metal and punk shows when I was 10. And growing up in middle school, my best friend was like the drug hippie kid in the school, and I was the punk rock kid, and we were like a weird dynamic duo of the punk and the hip. But I would rip on his shit all the time. If he put on Fish, I would be like, what is this faggot hippie stuff?
Right.
And then 4 years later, I'm at a Fish show, like dancing like a goof.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was saying all that
Maturity.
shit,
How do you feel?
I
How do you
had to
feel about
listen to
Fish
anything.
now? Like I'm saying, if you went back and listened to, because I did this recently, and if you went back and listened to like a bootleg Fish concert from 1998 or something like that, do you see it the same way? Because I look at it now, and some of the shit I'm like, some of the shit that I thought was like what the fuck is it called when you're a virtuosic. Some of the shit that I thought was some virtuoso shit, I look at now, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I thought it was virtuoso shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, well, they're just doing the chord changes, playing the solo, and then now they're jumping on a trampoline. I've actually reversed my hater attitude on Fish. I went the opposite way on
That's
that.
why, yeah, you gotta like throw yourself.
Not saying
something
they aren't amazing. Not saying they aren't amazing, but like when I look at
No,
it
I hear
now,
what you're saying. Now,
I see it through a
I took
different.
big
I see it through an
break.
older filter.
I took a big break
wiser
with jam
filter.
shit, and now it's like, wait, it is tougher than it used to be to get through the 17-minute jams.
Right.
Or at 15 or 14 or so, I'm looking at the track, but you know,
Right.
next track button.
Generally,
All
attention
right.
spans are also
Right.
just tightening up.
But I still ride around bumping, 90s live Fish shit. Where that's what I've always loved about those bands is, you could get a show October 9th, 1997 that's but you can get October 11th, 97,
Right,
the same
right.
band, and there's 4 tracks in there that you blast on the way home.
Yeah.
It's like hit or miss.
I
Shit
used to
with
bump
jam bands
their
sometimes.
actual live album.
I think
Used to
Fish
bump
though
that
is
one.
the most immaculate jam band going, or maybe of all time, just musician wise. There's still like, I consider the Dead as like my Beatles level music interest, but I've still listened to plenty of live, especially Live Dead, where it's just like oof.
Yeah.
I think
drums were sloppy.
they got more fucked up than Fish.
Well, yeah.
I think I like the
Trey
Dead. I like
was
the
still-
Dead better as songwriters.
Trey could still shred when he was all opiated out. When
Right.
he was on oxys and super fucked up. He could still like wail with his fucking out of their face.
Mhm.
Jerry was a lot more noticeably like you can hear him like missing a string
Yeah.
every other
He wasn't a perfect player. Like Trey.
Well, and
it's almost like
300 pounds and
Yeah.
he's fucking high on heroin and shit. But you listen to like 72 cocaine Jerry,
Mhm.
it's the best.
Crazy.
But
Yeah, man.
also, the rest of the band, Fish, to my knowledge, weren't getting super fucked up.
Well, it's like you said. It's kind of the most important aspect of that is the drumming. You know what I mean? Like if you're fucking the tempo up and shit, which
John
sometimes
Fishman-
you could hear an old Dead.
I think
old
John
Dead shit.
Fishman is a much better
Yeah.
technical drummer than.
Well, they're
Mickey
much
Hart or
they're
Bill.
better. They're better technical players. You know what I mean?
Well, and they're like old. The other guys are older and classically trained. Like Bill Kreutzmann is a jazz trained drummer and shit.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
Fish
saying that Fish is more like Fish more has like the chops that like a smooth jazz band would have, like just chops, like school type of chops.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the Dead is more feely. You know what I mean?
They were more of, I feel like, more of a garage band.
Yeah,
that found
yeah.
their-
More folky. They were like the folk Americana to Fish's like modern jam band jazz. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's a different
Yeah, well,
vibe. I like
came out of-
the song. I like the simple.
Yeah, they came out
Just the Dead.
of California bluegrass
Yeah,
roots, kind of.
I've been listening to them.
Sound so interesting as it's a plucking sort of sound. As he was trained as a banjo player before guitar, so he's incorporated banjo picking with an electric guitar that gives it that like that plucky sound.
Yeah, I think because
it's also only got
because
four
Bob
fingers.
Weir was I think the first meeting of the members was Bob Weir and Jerry, and I think that when they met, he was playing banjo, and that's what they were doing in their
I think it was
hometown.
Pigpen and Jerry,
It was?
and then they met Bob. I think Pigpen and Jerry were like the oldest of pals, but I'm not sure.
Well, I know that Jerry is much older than most of the other dudes in the band. Pigpen being a whole different exception, but I remember seeing something where they met each other, and then they started off like that.
Yeah, it was that, and then I read that Phil met them when I think they were already the Warlocks, and Phil went to some club and saw them on acid and hit it off with them.
That's a
I feel like Phil might have been the last addition. Or Mickey Hart, I think, was actually.
When did Pigpen die?
I want to say 70. No. 73. Because he's on Europe 72.
Damn, you're like a real deadhead, huh?
A little bit. Well, I know Europe 72 tour, he's definitely on Mr. Charlie and all that. But I know he was dead by 74, so I think in between there, 73. And he died of, like, straight up drinking death. Like, he drank himself to death.
I think that's pretty common amongst musicians, man.
That dude was
pretty common.
drinking from, like, 12. And,
Yeah.
like, drinking, not just, like, having some beers with his
Yeah.
friends.
Country music drinking.
I don't understand that at all.
Moonshine.
Drinking to death. Like, I love drinking. I drink a lot, but
Obliterating
like,
your liver.
I also like don't shoot hard liquor a lot. I don't shotgun beers. That dude last night at the show was asking us to shotgun a beer all night. It's like, I'll have your beer, but I'm not doing that. So like, how do you get so much in you so frequently that it's just over?
I know a dude on the East Coast who now just is like, he's at a level of alcoholism that I could never achieve. Like, he
It's,
has to drink vodka when he wakes up. Like, he lost everything. He lost his fucking
Like, I
kid. He
can't
lost his
imagine.
wife. He lost his house.
See,
Like,
those are the things I can't imagine. It's like, how do you get there? You just nailed it. It's like, there's all these factors in place, I'm sure, of stress levels that I haven't encountered and hopefully don't
I think
have
some
to.
people get the physical aspect of the addiction more than others. Like, I totally understand the escapism aspect of it, because I think that's what my shit
Right.
is. My shit is I just want to escape. I don't want
I
to
get
fucking
that
deal
more.
with my
So
problems.
what do you mean when you say the physical aspect?
I'm talking, this dude is fucking sick if he doesn't have vodka in
Right.
his blood. You know what I mean? He's sick. Like, he needs it like a
Start
heroin. Yeah, like he needs it.
Low, and in the morning.
Like,
you
to
need drink
to
just get
function.
regular.
Isn't that weird? Like, he feels like to
After
function
his
he needs
first
alcohol.
morning drinks,
Like,
he isn't drunk. He's how you feel now.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've we had like some beers for breakfast out here and stuff, but it's totally like this. It's like haven't gone on a vacation type thing in 3 years, and it's like all we had because it was then we're like just crashing on a couch. But when that's like you're hitting the store to make sure you have a handle of vodka for breakfast.
I don't drink.
It's rough.
Like, really even at all anymore. To the point where, like, when we do shit like no foam in the cup, I feel like phony.
Right.
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 Drinking songs where it's like I'm not even drunk right now.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I can't
I don't. I
imagine
think
that.
it's okay though. Like if you can relate to the feeling that people have when they're partying, like I think you're allowed to do it. If you feel phony, I guess it is phony. I don't know, but if you don't, you know what I mean? Like
year,
if you
I haven't been really into that, like fucking get schwasty.
You were saying when we went to that club, we were drinking like mixed drinks, and like getting it in you quicker if it's just tastes. But like you have 4 or 5 beers, you just get like heavy and tired, and you're like, I'm not gonna get drunk. I'm just gonna get tired.
When you got your own fruit mixers and bottle service and shit, it's like, well, then I could just make my own juices all night that are delicious. But,
yeah.
When all my option is to go to a bar and spend $7 a beer to feel bloated and drunk by the end of the night. I don't know.
Yeah, we got hammered
Less
on
into it.
bottle service in Hollywood our first night in town.
I feel like in a way what you're kind of saying is like it's about more than the drinking. It's about the whole thing as a thing. Like if you're getting bottle service and it's fun and it's a different thing that's unique.
Yeah, you kind of go a little overboard.
But if you're like, oh, I'm at the bar again, I'm drinking beer again, like it's almost like about the repetitiveness of it, and I've already done this in the past before. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like
the monotony, and like why? Like I just not doing that is a change enough to be worth it. Like I've been doing this every day, or like I've been smoking every day, and like even though there's an addiction or a psychological urge there, it's just like anything every day. Like you don't eat the same shit every single day. It's like I don't know. Lack of variety in general becomes
variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
All
sobriety is the price of Christ,
including moderation. Or something.
Is that a wax quote?
What is it?
Confucius proverb. What was
it's
that?
A Confucius proverb. Whatever you're referring to was a Confucius proverb.
Was that for
it was actually just a confusing proverb.
Oh,
you know?
Zing! Watch out. Oh, I was gonna ask this earlier when we were talking about comedy. I saw a thing on Instagram where you were like at the Improv, and you said you were doing stand-up.
Son.
Yeah, I did stand-up. Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
I took a stand-up class.
Okay.
Stand-up cherry.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I have a video. I could show you.
I got no info from it, but I was like, oh, dope.
Like, you're definitely someone I could see also doing stand-up comedy.
Dude, I've always wanted to do it, man. I've always wanted to, and I'm like the kind of dude where like, if I don't like have somebody telling me to do something, I might not do it because I'm kind of lazy by nature. You know what I mean? That's a good rap group, Lazy by Nature. But
so how'd you get up?
But that's why I took the class. I had a friend who took a stand-up comedy class, and as corny as that sounds, like I was just like, I took it not necessarily to get the knowledge, but to just make my ass do something. And I actually did get a shitload of knowledge. It was amazing, man.
Yeah.
The class was fucking incredible.
Yeah,
and like I can do it now. I can do stand-up now.
Where it sounds corny, but like I could definitely see that it's not teaching you how to be a stand-up it's like giving you pointers like don't do this, don't like it's not.
It's like if you're a guitar player and you learn the chords.
If you're not funny, come in here and you'll walk out a fucking comedian.
Right.
Exactly.
Like if you're already funny, come in here and we'll tell you what.
And this dude, he pre-screens everybody in there. Like he'll call and interview and talk to you, like because he's been doing.
Turn you down if you're.
Yeah, he's been doing this shit for years, and the way the class runs is like, after a couple weeks, you learn some basic shit the first couple weeks, but then basically every week you're just coming in and presenting your material to the class, and the 10 people in the class around talk about it afterwards. And it's a really group, like almost like a writer's room for a TV show kind of experience. Exactly.
I interned at the Second City in Chicago. My last year of college, and I had a couple. Our buddy Dylan did a Second City. Like I was always just never did it personally, but I got to like be in that atmosphere for a while and watch people like training, like taking improv classes and just trying to like learn how to be funnier. And
he was saying that like if you have an unfunny person in that environment, it ruins the whole thing. It's like putting a fucking. Like putting acid in a big thing of water, it fucks the whole water up. So he has to pre-screen everybody, make sure they have a little bit of humor in them. And I was, and to me, he watched my videos and saw. He was like, dude, come to the class. You know what I mean? You already have some funniness.
You got the charisma.
And then now it's like. It's funny, at the beginning of the class, I was kind of like the standout because I was the only person in the class who was even comfortable holding a microphone. You know what I mean? But by the end, everybody was even, and we all did a showcase like a fucking kid doing a piano recital. You know, and cool. Everybody did really well, man. It was fucking awesome. It was awesome. I got a show coming up, August 20th, Genghis Cohen, on Fairfax.
Nice.
Comedy show.
So where to like not to be on some job interview shit, but where do you want to be generally creatively in like 5 or 10 or whatever? Because like it seems like you're putting your eggs in different baskets a little bit, or like starting with comedy and I guess doing more production on your the tracks you're working on or whatever. So like
I want
are
to
you
do
trying
like
to do more of different stuff?
I want to do in like 2 or 3 years. I want to get enough stand up under my belt that I'm at least okay. I know I'm not gonna be fucking the best, because
Right.
I'm too late and
But
I
that you
do
could get a
too
spot.
much. I do too much other shit at the same time. But if I can do, I want to do a special in about 2 or 3 years where I do like 4 or 5 minutes of material, then a song. 4 or 5 minutes of material, then a song. And my goal, it's almost on some like Gambino or even fucking Bo Burnham. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like almost like some shit like that.
Gotta bring it all into one.
But I want the songs to be like, all praises due. Bo Burnham to me is a genius. But. Like you ain't gonna bump his songs in your car. You ain't gonna listen to his. You ain't gonna listen to his
I would
music.
never call the dude garbage. Or like some people are just like, because they see a young kid or a comic in front of a piano, like fuck this shit. Dude is clever as hell.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's funny, but definitely not some shit that I would like. His songs, I wouldn't just bump.
Not
on my
music
whip.
you would play in your car for sure.
Exactly.
I want it to be like that, just folk funny songs, and just have enough material. I already have a couple solid minutes, so
Nice.
Yeah, that's
I did
awesome.
I did
Some
12
shit.
minutes, but watching it now, I should have done like 7 minutes. You know what I mean?
What do you talk about on stage comedically? Or like, do you talk about you as a musician, or do you just do like observational?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I don't bring up that yet.
Right.
Eventually, I'll do music. Eventually, I'm
Right.
gonna do. But right now, I talk about.
You wouldn't want to like big yourself up for some unrelated, just like, oh, by the way, you might know me, I'm Wax. Now I'm gonna do some jokes.
Right. But the advantage to where I'm at right now, and you guys, if you guys all of a sudden want to do stand up, you'd have the same thing. Like, I could do I just started doing comedy, and if I wanted to, like, I could go do a tour. You know what I mean? Like, people know me already,
Yeah.
and these rooms are small. 100 people
Yeah.
come, and they're happy. You know what I mean? So I could already do a tour of comedy clubs.
Right.
You know
You
what
want
I
to
mean?
make them happy by your standards too, though.
But
Like,
but
just
that's
don't
what I'm
come because
saying,
you
yeah.
know my music. I want you to have, bought a ticket because you've heard that I was funny.
But I'm not.
Disregard,
See, I'm like, fuck it, come on, just sit in the fucking seat, whatever. It's
Yeah.
all good. But the thing is, like, I wouldn't want them to come and be like, this motherfucker wasn't funny.
Right. Yeah.
So if they came and I don't want to let them down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like right now, if I did a comedy tour, I'd have to do like 5 minutes of comedy and rap for 50 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'd
Right.
have to do. But
Just
eventually,
like,
I'll get there. It's fucking fun, man.
yeah.
And it's cool to start from the bottom. Just start it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you're like, investing in yourself in a new way where it's like the dude said, like, hey, I watch your videos, you're funny. It's like, I'm sure you've known that your whole life, but like didn't just have it in yourself to be like, I'm going to go take a comedy class. I'm not,
It's kind of weird
to
too,
be able
though.
to get it, get your reputation
some of
up
the
like
some
that.
of the masters of things. Like you seen that sushi guy, that fucking documentary. I can't remember his name
No, I know
now.
what you're talking about. I've
But
heard of it.
his whole thing is kind of like you're a master at one thing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And my boy Davey, that we always have dumb deep conversations. The dude I work with every day. It's like some people would argue that if you're really good at something, keep doing that. Keep perfecting that and be the best at that. Be amazing at that. Like that's like the greatest rappers do that. They don't necessarily, Kanye being the exception, like they don't necessarily do all this other fucking shit too. You know what I mean? Or the best guitar player
with
because he
what you're
fucking
good at.
Right.
yeah. But some people would argue like that shit gonna get boring. You know what I mean? To do the same thing all the time. So
Yeah. That's like the paradox of being bored with normal life and being like exposed and going to shows out here. So like it's fun, but like if we're constantly touring and we like, would that get boring? Like the road life, or I don't know.
Dude, I think
the same
fuck,
shit that
I just wanna
excites me
deliver
now. Would that
pizza.
be?
I think you would.
I
Yeah,
just
I
wanna
think you would
drop
like
off a
touring
pie.
better. Whatever you're doing now, you'd like touring better.
Yeah, as opposed to delivering pizzas, I think that's the preferred option.
Because you guys haven't done like a tour yet, like an official tour. You totally could, right?
Everything has been in
Trying
these
to-
small pockets.
Piece some shit together for the future, but yeah, we've never done anything more than like 4 shows
Right.
in a little run, which are all usually in like one state or one province.
Yeah, we don't have like a tour van or he's
Yeah,
got a
we've
car,
done
but it's also not like
Canada
equipped to
twice.
you guys
drive
don't
across
need
the
you don't
country.
need a lot of people, right?
No, but still, Canada and my fucking two-door
It's sketchy, yeah.
Yeah, it's cramped.
Oh, so you're talking you don't have the right vehicle yet. You might have to rent
And
a
the
vehicle.
fact that we still work real jobs that like we
That
kind of
holds
feel
you
like we
back.
need to do. It's like, well, I don't have time off, so how am I gonna?
Yeah.
You got to save up, money and time off and stuff to be able to take a week like we just did. And now it's like, technically, I feel like I can't do another small trip like this for a long time because I just ran out of vacation days at work. However, if I get the chance to set up the first Palmer Squares tour and stuff, then I'll have to give myself the ultimatum, and I already know the answer to that. I'm gonna go on the road. I just think we got a lot more to learn and figure out before we can, like we're doing it now with these small like 4 or 5 date runs. We'll go to Ontario and then hit just like 4 cities over there.
How important to you, and how long have you had your current regular job?
I've had it for like 3 years.
He's got like a real job
That's what it
It's
sounds like.
with his degree and shit.
Yeah,
Palmer Squares
yeah.
is always like leading in importance, like in the back of my mind. It's just in the front of my mind. It's we work too hard, and to let something like that where it's like it covers my bills for now, but this trip out here just covered some bills.
Also,
Like
other
it's
kids
if we
work
do that more, it's
hard.
fine. I'll swap one for the
Like,
other
when
immediately.
we got kids who drive 9 hours to see our show, it's like nobody at your work is making you feel like they're that interested in what you're doing at your job.
Right.
Like you're fucking
and you're
boss who comes
personally
in to
not
tell
as
you, "I need
interested.
this."
Mm-hmm.
You
Your
want to
boss
do your
isn't
job,
giving
but
you the
it's just like
impression that I just drove 9 hours to be here so that I
Of
can
course
just
not.
get.
Of course not.
So if I'm comparing the two, it's like I gotta go with the one kid who drove 9 hours to see my shit.
It's
Yeah.
I used to always talk to my boy Zoe about this. My boy DJ Zoe, and he's been DJ Zoe since I've known him. But for a while he had a regular job, and he was at this company doing merch. Like it was Maker. He worked at Maker, and he worked in the merch department, like shipping T-shirts and shit. And for a while he became depressed. And I used to always tell him like you are how you define yourself. And he never called himself merch guy Zoe. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
DJ Zoe. And like the more you can play towards that,
I don't introduce myself as the multimedia coordinator for a college campus housing department.
that actually sounds like a better job than most people.
No, like it's
That's why I'd say like
It's like kind of that sounds like a cool job, an interesting job, right? At least somewhat. right?
it's the best
still
gig I've
sounds
ever
like
had.
some
I've had,
better
like I
shit
said,
to
I've
tell
worked
someone than
retail,
pizza.
and that's
Yeah.
brutal and stuff. So it's just to be able to like, I have a chair, I can sit down like that alone. Like I used to have to stand at a register for 9 hours, or
Yeah.
So
sitting
it's
in
not
the
a bad
car.
gig, but in comparison
Smoking
to,
pot.
I still think I'd rather deliver pizza than do
Yeah.
that, honestly.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is not too much to complain about when half of the job is smoking bowls in your driver's seat listening to podcasts.
Right.
right.
That's a podcast.
So we don't have too much to complain
But
about with it,
My
but
main
it's
thing
there.
is, like I was saying, like to go on Twitter or some shit and have some kid tell you you're a rap god, and then close your phone to go carry a pizza to a door. There's like a juxtaposition there where you're like,
It's
is one of these wrong? Am I really a rap god if I'm standing here?
No,
with pizza?
I'm extremely familiar with what you just said. Like that exact same thing you just said has happened to me.
That's- Basically, our lives in a nutshell, right? Our home lives in a nutshell right now is like seeing some kid tell you that you're the next Eminem, and then
False.
like closing the computer to go see like your rent's late.
and then you see,
Fuck.
or like somebody,
Eminem's rent isn't late.
people request you and they'll say, come to Boston, come to New York, come over here.
don't
And then it's
have
like
the
exciting
means.
to see that people are out there, and then it's
You
depressing.
do though.
'cause you
I
can't make
don't
it.
agree that you don't have the means.
We don't have.
People
The
want to see
organization?
y'all. People clearly want to see you guys. You have fans. You have people. You had 200 people come out in LA. That's a lot of fucking people, man.
Yeah,
Think about it. That's a lot of fucking people.
we don't get
Yeah,
that
that's
in
the
Chicago.
eye-opener of,
You gotta get the fuck out of Chicago, man. Not saying move. I'm not saying move out of Chicago.
No, we were
but
just talking about that. Like,
you-
we'd
you
love
gotta
to
book- you
spend a
gotta
year
start
in a couple
touring.
different spots.
You guys
and
have so
then
much.
revisit.
You guys have so
Yeah.
much material. Like it's not like you need another album to tour. Like you could tour
And we
now.
got one.
Oh, yeah.
we're sitting on one.
We've complained recently about like there's too much old shit in our. We have an hour, standard. Like if you want us to play somewhere, we'll play an hour standard.
Mhm.
The majority of that hour though, it feels like is fucking. It's old. It's like I've been saying this
old.
forever.
But
and
people.
we got the new shit.
But
yeah,
it's always somebody's
if we
first
play all
time,
the new
man.
shit.
That's
some
why I
people be
try to
like,
scatter the
"What happened
sets
to Bring
with
the Bacon
pepper it in
Back?"
with
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, because we've played like over-hour sets before and did a decent job by our standards, and like not dropped lines and stuff. And then there's people just like, almost like booing, but be like, hey, play MC
wanted to-
Showcase.
I wanted to hear
play
It's
this.
Cold.
Like, dude, I did like a lot. That was a lot of music, but that was like 18 songs, and there was like 10 more that you were hoping to hear. So
There's
it's-
always going to be people unsatisfied.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
people
I
people
figured
come
that
to you
out.
after this, and you've already had this happen to you. People come to you after the show, and they say, but why didn't you play it? And then they say you're most like not on an album,
Name
Humperdinck
fucking
or
feature. You know what I
something.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just me. What is Matt gonna stand there for 5 minutes? No, yeah, and
Sure, we can
I don't
figure
even
it
take
out.
that shit as like someone who wasn't satisfied or something. It's like, I know this guy had a great time or some shit.
Right.
I'll go see Fish and be like, nah, but they didn't play the Moment
Right,
yeah.
Dance. It's like I still had an awesome show. I just went in, I listened to the Moment Dance on the way there, and I was like, fuck, I
Yeah.
have to play this.
Ultimately, it's good that people want to hear you play anything. You know.
Yeah, but it's that juxtaposition where we're currently in of like,
It made him happy
Apparently
and you feel like
we're
you
the
let him
shit.
down too.
but then apparently when these guys aren't telling
But the
us
problem,
shit,
the problem is that
I'm just a dude delivering
everything
pies.
revolves around money, and you have to pay your rent, and you have to. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. So the
Well,
hard
that's-
thing to do is to fucking start making money. For me, I had lucky breaks with like weird shit. Like I got money because I had a hit in other countries and shit. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that that's kind of the goal, is what you were just saying. When we first 3 years ago met up with you, you even said to us that you were in a position now where I'm paying my bills and eating and living comfortably, and all I'm doing is selling my merchandise and playing shows.
yeah,
It's like that's really like at the least where my goals are really at or oriented, is just to be able to not have to go to deliver pies for a few hours every other day to pay the bills, just to be able to focus on the rap shit to do that. And that was, interestingly enough, when you said that to us, was 2 days before you posted Rosanna.
oh shit,
You
yeah,
posted Rosanna the day we flew home. We like scoped it from the airport.
Yeah,
and
you were
shit.
putting the final touches on the edit
You
when we
actually
were
showed us in
crashing at
your
your
living
house that
room
night.
and
The
asked
dude
us
that
what
was
we
editing
thought.
it came
wow.
over. I remember because he was like, "Which video tag do you want at the end, or whatever? What chunk of this song?" And you were like,
It
you
was,
were putting the final touches on
Casey?
it, and we saw it
or
early,
AK,
and then it
It's
blew
either
up.
Casey or
A-
AK.
I think
Was it a white guy or Asian guy?
It was an Asian guy, but we met AK.
Okay.
They were,
Yeah, we
I
met
think they
them
were both
both.
there when you guys were.
Yeah,
working on it.
Picking
AK
the-
was always at my house
Yeah.
when we were there.
You were
We're
picking the tag on the end from the one where it's in a circle and you guys sped it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
What's it called?
That's what
Coins.
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 So that's like at the end of the
There's
video.
a line
Oh
about
right.
Pillsbury Doughboy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, memories.
Yeah, see,
Oh,
and that
yeah, and
song,
then-
like that song, and what happens, I think, is that the more songs you make, and when you make 200 songs, one song's gonna make you some money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's fucked up, but that's how it is. Like
And that was, for us, some inspirational shit to witness. Was you were also in a funk, I believe, during that. We had no idea.
dude, when I shot that video with you guys when
You-
we're on the roof, I was
Yeah.
so fucking miserable. I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to rap. Like I
Made
didn't even
that-
know how.
You made that Def Jam announcement like the week later.
Yeah.
It made
And
a
the
lot
whole
of
time
it's
we
like,
were there,
oh.
we had no idea all the shit that was
Clearly, we were
weighing
just being
on
a
the content.
nuisance while he was distracted by
Yeah.
other big deals going on with Def Jam.
No, but
records.
it was just weird, and I think about it at any time that I'd watched that video. When I did that rap video with you guys, I was in a mental place where I was fucked up. Like I was really fucked up that
Yeah, I saw your
time.
video, like probably a week after we'd filmed that, when you
talked
made the whole
about.
announcement about leaving Def Jam and shit. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. You know, it wasn't even the Def. It was just in. I mean, it was part of the Def
I
Jam
thought it
thing
was
that did it.
Obviously a combination.
But it was
of a lot
like
of
this
shit,
weird, like
and us just
I
showing
became like I became fucking. It's hard to even explain, but I became frozen.
Mhm.
And I remember seeing you guys because especially you are the clearest example of somebody who's not like that. Somebody who like when you were rapping on that video, you were in it. You were like fucking there in
We
the
also
moment.
came prepared though.
But I'm not even saying the rhymes or the level of memorization. I'm talking about the actual just like
Yeah, I'm just
Just
the
freedom.
ability
in
to
the moment.
the ability to feel yourself. The ability to be like, I'm rapping right now. This is what's going on. Like I lost that. I just fucking
Now I get
didn't
what you're
have
saying.
it.
There's sometimes where you're recording a shit where it's just like, I know that if I watch this back, all I'm gonna see is the fact that I'm sitting here like, I'm saying shit that I memorized. Where it doesn't feel like I'm saying shit to the camera that I feel.
Right.
Right.
It's really obvious that this is just a guy like trying to remember every next word.
Right.
And if we never made it clear in the past,
I've
like
felt that way. Pretty much every one take we've shot, all of the takes before the one that we ended up using, I was like, that's how I felt.
yeah,
Right,
warming
right.
up.
First
That's always
few.
a factor.
Yeah, you warm up.
Yeah, we
But
were
I was
super
saying-
appreciative of you clearly taking time to like be a shut-in in your room and write some bars for us just because we were like begging
Yeah, and
you to
that
rap with
added
us 3 years
To
ago.
me, to the whole, after you releasing Rosanna, the day we left, and all this, it was very inspirational to see you go from that funk to only a few months later, Rosanna was gold in
Like, what,
whatever
Austria or
European
something?
Yeah.
Where
country.
was that?
Austria.
And that helped
You were
me a
playing-
lot.
Yeah,
That
you
helped
went
me a
and did
lot.
Warped Tour in Europe after that and shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
That helped me because
Always gets better.
part of what happened is that, and Rosanna's a great example because when I made that song, I sent it to them and I was like, "This is the fucking hit. Let's
And they didn't like
do
it.
something with this." They didn't get it.
You mentioned that last time around. Or
And
at
I was,
some
and
point,
I
remember
started
that.
after a while. You started
Hilarious.
thinking maybe this shit sucks. I don't fucking know. What the fuck do you want from me? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it kind of helped me to be like, oh wait, that was granted it didn't blow up here for whatever reason, but it fucking did awesome over there. It was number one.
Well,
like,
I'm sure
blah,
it
blah,
would've.
blah.
That's crazy.
had a chance too if they would have pushed
Right.
that shit while
Right.
it was also being where it was.
Exactly.
It had their support too.
And
I
that's
just found
yeah.
that is the inspiration of like that your differences with them led to that whole split, and then it's like immediately from the split seemed like you continue with such a success of really just like the concept of it was
Right.
like so successful, and like that's exactly what you did with it was continue.
I appreciate that, man.
And yeah, that's, as I was saying, like really inspirational to me, and you would asking exactly monetarily where we're trying to be is like to see where you went from that is I'm trying to go from where we are to where you were in the beginning of that really. It's
Right,
like
right.
just comfortably paying my bills, selling merch and playing shows. And
It's
shit.
certainly possible, man. It's certainly
I
possible.
think we do definitely got to get the fuck out of Chicago and not even just leave to play shows, like leave indefinitely for living. And I think that just from like growing up with my dad having been a musician in Chicago and telling me kind of the same thing and experiencing what we've experienced out here and even on the East Coast and in Canada and some other places, it's not as communal and cooperative of a scene where it's like out here it's just beautiful. People want an excuse to go out.
This is an amazing place.
People
to
don't
want
to be cooped up at home.
The hip hop scene in
I mean, look at-
Chicago
look
is
at-
strong
look at
enough.
Chicago.
Club down
Look
the
at-
street, and I'll probably see some hitting every cup.
Granted, everything's different now with the internet. But look at Chicago. Kanye had to leave.
Everyone
Oh,
Oh, everybody
Yeah,
goes.
Chicago.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
leaves to
left
make it.
Chicago and then they got big.
I feel like Chance
you're
the
in
Rapper is
Chicago,
the only dude who
you-
didn't have to leave. He left when he made it. Like I think Chance
Yeah, and some of
Chance
the-
was a big inspiration for
I don't think
Chicagoans
they'd
in
have to leave.
general.
Those other cats like Chief Keef and them, I don't think had to leave. But that's what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
it's such a
The internet is
split.
the
That's
internet
some
is a
short-term
different
shit, too.
a different time. The internet is a different thing than when Kanye got big or when
Yeah.
obviously when
Yeah.
Common got big. But the thing is for y'all, like I can definitely see how being in a place like LA or New York might be more beneficial to you,
People-
even just from an inspirational
just to
perspective.
change it up because
Like,
the
to get
monotony we were
like,
talking
yeah,
about. Just to change it up.
As an artist and as a human being, just to change it. Fucking.
Because I love Chicago and I love the Chicago hip hop scene and I want to be part of that. But I also think to be as the part of that we want to be, yeah, we can't stay there forever. It's just
not as beautiful of a place and shit where I feel like people in Chicago aren't going to go out to a thing unless they know what they're going there for and they're going there for something that they're already invested in. Where it's like people here,
you
it's
said
just
like
beautiful,
cooperative
period.
and
I'm
communal,
gonna
and
go
that's
out
what it
just
is
because
until all
it's
the
beautiful,
time.
and
Yeah.
I'm probably
Right.
going to see something I dig while I'm out there. People don't really do that in Chicago.
And you
It's like,
see-
I need an excuse to go
You like
out.
see
Half the time it's
amazing
freezing.
things happen, dude. You see amazing things happen
Yeah.
out here. I'm not saying that amazing things don't happen in Chicago. I think Chance is
They
a great
do.
example, but
It's just most of the people that witness them already knew what was going to be happening. Like, we get it way less in Chicago where a dude will come up after the show and go like, yo, I didn't even know what was going on here at this venue, or I've never heard of you guys, but that shit was awesome. We get that all the time out of state, just when people when we're in a place where people just go out because they know they're gonna see something they like. Mostly in Chicago though, it's people are there because they know what they're gonna be there for, and that's one thing that's a little, I think is detrimental to our progress.
I find that you know that old saying where they're like, you're kind of the equivalent of the smartest 5 people you kick it with. You know what I mean? Like, I find that being out here, even if I'm not collaborating with like Dumbfounded or Breezy or like my manager knows all these actors and shit, but even if I'm not actually working with them, just like being around people like that. Like before I moved here, I lived in San Diego, and my friends down there are all awesome, but they don't do this kind of shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I would just find myself
makes you feel like you're surrounded by success more.
You can just you just see the possibilities and like the energy flows into you. You know, I mean, the shit we're seeing with Breezy right now is, I don't think that's possible in another town, dude.
Yeah,
that's not. I mean, it's fucking to go to Dr. Dre's studio every night is not possible if he stayed in his hometown, even. You know, and I could definitely see how moving could be a big factor because I saw it firsthand with myself. You know what I mean?
It's just my dad is from an early age, or from the early stages of us doing this shit, has also just told me that it's a quicksand city. He was in a Chicago band and shit and saw the same shit played, LA and the whiskey and stuff, and so if we would have lived in LA, we would have done all the things.
Well, Billy Corgan had to leave.
Yeah. And that's what he said. He was the first one to say that to me. It's like, look, at most of the notable names that came out of Chicago, and he wasn't even talking about rap. My dad doesn't really know shit about hip-hop. Most of the notable names came out of Chicago because they did that. They came out of Chicago.
Right.
That's even true for acting. Like, everybody knows that's, what is it, Center City? What's it?
Second City.
Second City. There's also the Steppenwolf.
But people do that, then bounce. That's like college. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't do Second City, then kick it, you know?
That's where we're starting to get to, like,
yeah.
It's been a minute.
Well, let's just leave.
Bounced.
Let's quit talking about it. Let's fucking, sign our lease this year and take a year and then be gone in 2017. Is that the plan?
First of all,
Let's do it.
First of all, there's plenty of pizza delivery jobs here. Second of all, whatever you're doing, there's probably that too.
Hey, I'm a film major, man. It's LA.
But that shit'll trap you, man. Those 9 to 5 shit'll trap you. Those desk jobs, you feel good. You get your Friday paycheck. It feels good. You know, you're not worried too much. Like, that shit'll trap you, dog, because you'll wake up when you're 40 and be like, fuck.
Like, I still enjoy that because it's a media thing. I do a lot of our video work. I studied video. I've been editing, skate videos and stuff since when we were, 13, and that's what I decided to study. And it's helped us that he does, illustration and graphic design for a lot of our album art or promo flyers, and I do a lot of the moving image for YouTube videos. So we haven't had to, outsource everything. We can take care of a lot of it on our own. So I enjoy that. I just want to put as much of that as I can into us and the Palmer Squares. But if it means moving out to LA and I'm certainly have a skill set where it comes to post production.
Dude, I could probably get you a job the fucking first week.
I'm a hold you to that.
You talk to a couple of my boys, I could get you. If you're doing that shit and you're good at it, this is the king of places for that.
I'll just get a little job at a dispensary.
You can work at a dispensary?
Yeah.
You could. I see that being your top pick and very fitting.
I actually have it in.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious about that 2017
I got an in for delivery driver.
Let's not sign the lease next year.
I know cats that work for this delivery place. You could probably get a job for it real fast.
Shit, man, my Uber driver the other day was talking me up on that shit.
I have a lot of friends that do Lyft and Uber too.
We were discussing that. But the dude was like, because I know they'd pay you as an Uber guy to recruit other people.
Right.
So I knew that's what he was doing to me.
Right.
But at the same time, it was
selling you.
He's selling me if I lived in California. Ubering in Chicago is way less lucrative. But the fact that California are all of these hot spots that are all an hour away from each other.
Within an hour,
see how you bank.
Dude, those guys work their asses off.
He was telling me how he banks the fuck out of every week. It's yeah, I get what you're saying, but you're telling me to do this. I live in Chicago.
It really comes back to us. We have to just decide and do that. If you wanted to make more money, you would take the job. If we want to get out of Chicago, we gotta just do it. So that's it. We've always talked about it, and I think it is on the radar eventually. But I mean, we have the conversation. I feel every year, hey, are we gonna sign the lease again, or are we gonna try and do something new? It's really the easiest option to just do what we're doing, and we're getting sick of it.
A really bomb spot in Chicago.
Yeah, we have a nice place. It's cool.
Better than any apartment most anyone
We scored
know
this
in the
apartment in
city.
Chicago like 7 years ago
Literally
when the
rent-
market was in the
I've seen it
shitter.
in y'all's videos.
We got like a deal on it because that was when the 2007, 2008
Yeah.
money was shitty
Market
and like
just
people were
crashed.
chopping their prices down, and
There's
that's
rent
when we
control.
got it. Yeah, and it's like it's a really decent spot to where I always said I'm not gonna leave that place unless we're leaving the city because it's been working for us pretty well. So it's not like living's uncomfortable the way we do in Chicago, but like you're saying, man, like I feel like there's more suitable opportunities in other spots, and we got to check that out eventually.
Where, yeah, there's a lot of other things to consider, man. You know, it's like, you know, are you gonna miss people? You know, some people are very hard. It's very hard for them to leave their families. You know, some
Yeah.
people, like your homies or whoever you're making music with out there, are you gonna find the same type of people out here? Which you know, you could fucking do
Right.
that via internet with most things. People can send you beats and shit.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, though. It's a process. Like, we have a clique and, yeah, homies, friends, family. We have, like, our studio, similar to your setup right here. Like, we have our equipment. Like, where does that go if we leave? Are we going to, like, sell it and take some money with us? Are we going to bring this and set up a studio elsewhere? There's, like, planning that needs to happen that we just haven't really...
The
into.
beauty of making that move, the fucking best thing about it is you can always fucking go back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, home.
You stay here for a year and you're like, I hate this shit. I don't like this. I'm a goddamn Chicagoan. That's
Yeah.
all I am. Like
A
you
year
can go
isn't a long
fucking back.
time.
You can
I
go
would say
back.
let's
That's
do,
the
like-
beauty. You can't go back in time and say what would it be like, but you can always go back.
Right.
No, I can see.
Y'all are kind of like hippies by nature, anyway. It seems. You know.
We were discussing our only, I think, dilemma would be like, it's too beautiful, and there's too much booty and stuff. It's like we're just so used to like the pessimistic, shitty weathered Midwest and like
Yeah.
cooped up scarves.
There is,
and
like, a, you
coats.
know...
Dude, if you're worried, there's plenty of depression to be had in Southern California. There's plenty of that going
Good to
around,
know.
man. Plenty of that going around. You're just gonna develop new insecurities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just gonna be new insecurities.
Like to me,
I'll welcome that.
the array of butts is just like, look what you're not cool enough to have.
There's part of that. There's some of that.
We're just such introverted dorks that it's like, oh my god, all the girls here have their butts out.
The funny thing about it is
They
when
still don't want me to talk to
if
them,
you
right?
go to some like the upper echelon Hollywood parties, it's just a bunch of dudes like that who now have access to those booties. It's funny to see some, especially in the comedy world, a lot of dudes like were like out here, like a lot of people want to be quote unquote Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people want to be impressive and flashy and drive like you've seen how many people drive nice cars out here. It's weird, you know. Everybody
Dude at the
wants to
pool
be
earlier
that,
with,
so it's
like,
interesting.
Fucking loafers and a hat and an ascot. It's just some guy.
Right,
Not
right,
even famous. He's just wearing an ascot.
right. But they have the attitude that they're famous.
Yeah.
You know?
We played an
it's
open
interesting.
mic.
It's interesting to see. Like that's why I live in the Valley, or even when I lived in Venice. I can't live in Hollywood, man. I can't fuck with Hollywood type places too much. I like it every once in a while. Like I love that the stories I was telling you about last night. Like that's fun every once in a while to see some funny shit like that.
Yeah. Which it's not even like. It's just like it's like a culture clash thing of like. It's definitely I could learn to fuck with it, but we're so humble or whatever that it's like. I don't know. I'm not a. It's that culture of walking around with my titties out and stuff. It's like,
Yeah, but
we're from such a.
it's not as prevalent as you think, man. There's regular motherfuckers, like all the dudes that like
Yeah, we'd
take for
probably
example
just be
dudes that like
We'd
dudes that-
stick out. They'd be like,
dudes that do
"Damn,
the
this kid's
visual
so-"
effects for Star Wars. You know, like the dudes that work at studios because they're fucking computer geeks who like that. They're all out here too. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually a really nerdy place too.
Yeah, I'll just be cool because I'm the dude who shows up to the club with like khakis and a sweater, tie-dye sweater.
I think it's
We were
funny how you
saying
said
we were at
khakis
that-
and a sweater. That actually sounded kind of fancy.
I guess. I was trying to think of the things that me and Matt went to a beach bar like 4 days ago.
Where'd you go?
It was in Redondo
In
where we were
Hermosa
staying before
Beach.
the tour started.
I love Redondo. Was it on the pier?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Like 4 Fs.
Was it? Did you go to the Tony's? The one that's above the
It's
top,
like
the top one, the
It's
weird
a
little.
4 Fs bar or
Uh-uh.
something. It's like an Irish pub. just beach bum. I could see girls.
It wasn't like
up
fancy.
there
It was
with,
whatever,
they're
right?
in bikinis.
No, but
drinking
Redondo's not
Coronas.
fancy. Yeah, the place I'm talking
Right.
about.
I walked
fancy.
up in khakis, and the guy said I wasn't allowed in because my pants were too baggy.
And they weren't
That's
like
awesome.
baggy pants. They
That's
were just, they were
awesome.
just pants.
That's so awesome.
And I was wearing a tank top
It's
and
like dress
like
pants.
basketball
You throw a
shorts.
blazer
And I was
on
cool.
with. I don't know. It confused me.
It was weird. Like we stood there for a minute. We thought it was a joke, and he was dead serious. And like, no, you're not coming in the bar. And
But
we're
also
like, wait.
like Greystone. We were at that Greystone Manor place
Yeah.
with like waitress with like the fishnets and the booty sticking out, pouring us drinks and girls and
But Chicago has shit.
dresses
Chicago
and
has shit like that.
guys and like
we were
us-
dressed like shit.
Yeah, it's all we're sitting there in the middle of all that with like a fucking fish shirt and some dirty sneakers
Yeah.
and some stained jeans on. I was like, I really feel like a sore thumb, but maybe it's cool to be a sore thumb.
There's a level of that. That's what's cool about LA is you can do whatever you
It's
want.
like mysterious.
I wouldn't say all that.
Why
It was
is this
just,
guy a
I'd say it was
sore thumb?
luck. It was luck that we just got to slide in
No, it was
wearing that. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy out here.
It's crazy out here, fam. I love how that
I like
was,
it.
I like how that was your like summary of what you would say. It's crazy
Yeah,
out here, man.
It's crazy. You
Crazy
can't get
out
into
here,
a
dog.
bar with jeans on. It's like, oh, you're wearing shorts? That's cool.
But that's like that's one place.
Yeah.
That's one place.
I just never heard that. I'm like,
They
what's
have
the
that-
rest of your dress
there's
code
9
consist
million.
of?
There's 9 million people here, man.
Yeah.
When
They have
that's
every
Matt
type
standing
of
there
bar.
with like a bathing suit and a tank top.
Yeah, I looked
It's
worse.
like, how is he nicer than I am?
Because the
I have
opposite.
real pants.
If you the opposite could be said of LA. You know what I mean? Like it's actually dress code wise. Like where I grew up, people would go out to DC. Like it's way stricter there because there's no exceptions. There's no like, oh, but those tennis shoes are cool. It's like sneakers are not allowed. You have to have dress
Right.
shoes. Like out here, it's like if you got the dope sneakers,
Right,
you're
that's
allowed.
what's
You know what I
weird to
mean?
us. It's, yeah.
We'll let Bieber in with the drop crotch pants and spiky hat.
Yeah.
It's like me wearing this anywhere else, they'd be like, the fuck out of here.
Like whoever that fool was you were talking about at the pool, whatever the fuck you were saying he was wearing,
yeah, an
he can get in. He can get in anywhere.
If you're wearing an ascot, like you better be a billionaire or famous or something. Like this guy didn't look famous.
What if he was super famous?
Probably was.
Could have been, probably.
Where'd you
was.
see him?
Some hotel.
The hotel you picked us up out of Figueroa. He was poolside with 2 other dudes and a girl. And
Who was the
then
chick y'all were with?
A bottle of
With
champagne.
the Palmer Squares T-shirt on.
That's my ex, who you met at Reggie's in Chicago one time.
That's not the same ex.
No.
You have 2 exes that live in L.A.
She's Irish and she's living here abroad for the summer. But the other one actually lives here career-wise and shit.
Do they know each other?
No.
And kick it all the time? And talk about your dick?
Maybe.
Could be.
Is it too personal to get into asking if you hooked up with that chick?
No.
No, you didn't, or no, it's too personal?
No to both.
I'm always curious about chicks.
Yeah, I didn't know the dynamic
Because
last
she
night.
had the Palmer Square shirt on. You know what I mean? So I was, and she's walking out of the hotel.
I don't know.
Fun. I was just
No,
like,
it was just.
just
she
happened to have it
feels
on.
She was owed it. That's our new merchandise and shit. She has a place to stay and
Yeah.
would have asked me for one.
We'll probably
anyway.
give you a shirt for letting us come to your studio. I mean, like, it's just our parting gift.
I feel like that's a good song title. She felt she was owed it.
There you go.
You know what I mean? That's a good country
Let's
song.
make it. Oh, I got a good country song. We're going to talk when the mics are off.
Felt she
I'm
was
serious
owed it.
right now.
Won't talk about you. Won't talk about I. Number 1 on my.
Dude, enough.
What I
Enough,
want,
Toby
what I do,
Keith.
see here, be.
Well, we've been yammering for a minute.
Let me just tell the one
you.
story from last night. Speaking of Hollywood shit, just for my podcast, I want to just say the last night DJ Zoe, the mighty DJ Zoe, was DJing at the Soho House, which is some fucking ritzy Hollywood type of place, and Mariah Carey was there. And Mariah Carey came up to Zoe, and she looked at him in his face and said, hey, can you play one of my songs? I'm about to leave. I want to exit to one of my songs. And he fucking did it.
And he did. You know what song? Yeah.
Wax is True Hollywood Stories. Yeah, Sweet Fantasy.
Yes.
So,
Safe bet.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
When you walk by every night. That one.
You should have found.
And she fucking walked out.
You should have found the YouTube of someone posted recently the soundboard recording of her.
National anthem, or what did she?
It was that Christmas song.
Oh right.
Which one?
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah. She's so.
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah.
So out of tune.
Really?
And I guess she said something cunty to the sound guy and the sound guy ripped her mic from the show and released it on YouTube, and it's
wow,
brutal.
Which actually reminds me, before you dip on this podcast, we got to show you something.
I was about to remind you if you weren't.
What is
So
it?
DJ Khaled was on the Breakfast Club. Is that it?
I don't know.
The Breakfast Club with
Radio
Charlamagne.
show? Yeah.
I actually really like.
This one word has been the theme of our whole tour. 'cause I
Apparently,
can't get
someone
enough.
accused DJ Khaled of some sort of
like borrowing.
fraudulence regarding his jewelry, and it's been like ebonic hip hop shit in the 90s, since the 90s, of like pronouncing jewelry wrong. Jury. My jury.
My
Yeah.
jury.
And like he's like out of.
He's not even on the 90s
He
throwback
doesn't
level.
do it wrong.
Here, listen,
This is
listen.
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled owes nobody no money. First of all, I have so much jewelry. I got more jewelry, and it's not even about the jewelry, because it's jewelry. But it's jewelry.
And the best part
jewelry,
is
man.
the guy in the Breakfast Club goes, "It's jewelry."
Yeah, he said it 3 times in a row, completely wrong, and it
It's
didn't
not
phase
about
him.
the jewelry, because it's jewelry.
It's not about the jewelry.
The guy cuts him off to go, "It's jewelry."
Jurley?
He said "jewelry"
And
3
it's not, I got
times.
so much jewelry, and it's not even about the jewelry. Dude.
What?
And then they tried to address it, and they're like, "It's jewelry," and he's like, "No, let me finish. Let me
No,
talk
but
over
at the end
you
of the day,
to avoid
at the
having
end
to."
of the day, but at the end of the day,
Dude, if you watch DJ Khaled shit, he has mental he's like a savant, you know what I mean? Like he's not he's not all there.
Savant minus the savant.
It's funny because you had a DJ Khaled line 3 years ago in the thing you wrote, something about eating salads, and DJ Khaled
DJ Khaled.
in the Hollywood video we did. So it's like we can't escape this jewelry mispronouncing fool whenever we're in town.
He has other he has other viral videos too. There's one of him,
Shirley?
there's one of him in music videos talking to women, and that was a viral video.
Oh, it's just a weird.
And there's just him saying
shit. Is
shit.
enough.
It's some movie. But in that same interview we were talking about, he goes on this whole thing about how he doesn't eat pussy, and the chick Angela Yee from that show kind of fucking gets him, in my opinion. Like he's basically like, your woman ain't satisfied, I guess, and shit
Exactly.
like that, you know.
We gotta look that up. Like, what's his defense of I want to hear the dude
He's
that
saying
says Jurley saying his reasoning for not
He doesn't go down on his woman because he's the king. That was his thing. He's the man. He's the king. He doesn't have to do stuff like
You're
that.
the queen
She
because
has
I'm
to
the
do
king.
stuff. It was nonsense. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
bullshit. It was like it didn't mean anything.
DJ Khaled says he will never eat pussy.
So wait,
I'm
there's
like a
girls out there that would
Jamaican.
fuck DJ Khaled to begin with? Is that
Wait, is I'm like?
He has a wife, I think. I think he
Okay.
has a wife.
Is I'm like?
even
a
worse?
Jamaican
Dude,
You
There's-
love
of
this
course
woman
there's-
and you won't lick her box? What
Of
are you
course,
doing?
there's women that'll fuck DJ Khaled. Of course.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at Biggie, dude. Biggie was terrible looking. Like there's people like anybody. Donald
Yeah.
Trump, like.
Yeah. It's like clout and money, but also
The main
confidence,
thing, the main
talent,
thing women
clout.
want is that
A job.
That
Does he have a job?
that confidence that makes them feel protected from a nature standpoint.
Yeah.
There's this weird thing of she got a confident man walking with his fucking head up and his chest out that makes her feel
If
protected.
there's nothing
and
in his
loved.
head, it doesn't matter as long as he looks like he's
Yeah, DJ
looking the
dude,
part.
Bitches would love a dude like DJ Khaled.
like a bouncer body.
Yeah. A bouncing ball body. Bouncing out of the club.
Speaking of balls, this
Cats
ball
bouncing
thing
off
is
him. Yeah, what the
fucking
fuck are you
gross.
drinking, man?
I don't know. I've seen them on the street, littered,
streets?
and they look interesting. This
what is it, though?
fucking gross.
You always order some weird
see.
thing.
I'm the king of
ordering
Oh, this is
something
an
you've never heard
alcoholic
of?
beverage?
Yeah, buy something mysterious that I've never had,
All right,
and
so
then it tastes like
since
garbage.
since this is an audio podcast, I'm going to try to describe this.
It's called a buzzball.
Term K is drinking a thing called a buzz ball. It says mixed drink buzz balls. This thing it's shaped like a tennis ball. As
it's
if
got
a
a
It
tennis
looks
ball.
like it could be a candle, like with a wick.
It's got
Like
a
it's
soda
got a,
can on top.
It's shaped like a tennis ball, but it's made out of what tennis ball canisters come in. Except it's green like a Heineken bottle, and it looks like a little hug. You know those little hug drinks, like the little fucking like barrels,
Yeah,
but
little-
smaller,
yeah.
shorter.
like a quarter water.
And it has
stockier.
the top of a 12-ounce soda can.
Yes.
pop tab.
And it's called Forbidden Apple. Can I sip?
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, let me try this. One time we were out of state.
Yeah, it's gross.
We were having.
It tastes like a now and
You
later.
didn't make a gross face.
He's like, I like it, but it's gross. He
Yeah,
approved.
it is gross.
It gave me
physically.
immediate heartburt though.
One time we were at
It
a.
was
Immediate
way stronger
heartburn.
than I expected.
Yeah.
We were out
that
of
looks
state.
like it's gonna be some
What's the
fruity.
is it vodka?
Must
what the
be.
fuck
mixed
is it?
drinks, vodka and apple liqueur with apple and lemon
It's
juices.
real like tart. Is that the word I'm looking for? But like tart, like the tartness of the
A lot more
tartness of a
burning than I
Sour
was
Patch
expecting.
Kid mixed with the burning of a shitty vodka.
A lot more burn than I expected.
Yeah, this isn't great.
I can't believe you bought that.
This is
dog.
stupid.
I thought you know what's funny
You
about
guys
it?
were buying beer, and I bought a coffee, and I was like, I gotta buy something else.
You know what's funny about what
to
you're
look
drinking
cool
is
here.
that I thought he had some like health food kombucha
I had
tea
no
or
idea that was
something.
liquor. Yeah.
I thought
Have a ball.
I thought it was some health shit. I thought it was some
20%
fucking
alcohol,
like.
though.
He always, whenever we're out of state or playing some, somewhere we've never been, or just like, hey, I've never heard of this beer. I'm gonna have and then like some exotic title, and then he's ordered non-alcoholic beers before.
One
time I
It's
got
like,
a
no, you gotta drink
non-alcoholic.
that. Like, you're stupid.
Sharps. I
just
think.
just get a Heineken every
Like
time. You can't go
Miller
wrong.
non-alcoholic.
Miller Sharps.
I just see a name that I haven't ever gotten, so yeah, I'm gonna get a Sharps.
Let me get a Sharps.
And I read it.
This isn't what I ordered.
How long
It's
you
not
been
on a
clean,
fresh
man?
big bun.
Day 65, man. One day at a time. Give me a Sharps.
Some fucking pickle juice tasting beers.
Pickle juice. Let me get another sip of that thing. I want to taste that again.
Yeah, the alcoholics are gonna finish your drink now because you're sitting on it.
Go for it.
I just really want to.
Vodka E Jolly Rancher.
They're all different colors and flavors.
This is unlike anything I've ever tasted.
There's a peach one and a
Just so
chocolate,
anybody
chocolate
listening,
one.
it's called Buzz Balls. BUZZBLALLZ, and it has like little baseballs on it. And this is the Forbidden Apple, and it's unlike anything I've ever tasted. I'm saying I'm remarking on it because it's kind of remarkable in its uniqueness.
I like your
is-
description of the tennis ball shape,
It's like
tennis ball
I've
case
never
material.
seen
You
anything
nailed
like
it.
that. I've never tasted anything like that.
and it's
It should come in a,
Like where does that?
in a tube the same material of tennis balls.
It should. Right? No, but three of these things should be
Yes,
packaged.
exactly.
Yeah.
But, like
okay,
the
yeah.
outside feels like tennis balls.
It's hilarious.
No, yeah, it's just
It even
That'll
says
be the-
bounce
that'll
it,
be the
shake it.
thumbnail for your podcast is a picture of this because we're talking
They're
ad
just
nauseum about it
interesting.
and no one knows what the fuck this is.
And I saw one on the street one time and tried to break it and I couldn't.
Speaking of, I think I might take a picture of Term drinking his
So ever
Buzz
since
Balls.
I
Do
was
it.
Intrigued.
Didn't
They're
fucking,
intriguing.
Oh, that's gross.
Didn't fucking Dave Chappelle have a thing? What was that called? Red balls.
Yeah.
Red balls.
Oh shit!
It gives you wing.
I gotta take a fucking. Let me get it. Let me get the
Pose.
Yeah, let
Here,
me.
chug,
I want to see.
Chug,
That's
chug,
good.
chug. There you go. It's marketing.
Oh
That's
man,
gross.
that picture was. Oh, there it
Oh,
is.
you blurred it up.
There it is.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Count it. Count it.
Damn, dude, you look like seriously affected in this picture by the taste of that thing.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Was that on the counter? Like
No, they're in the back behind the
That's a
the fridge.
refrigerated.
Yeah,
okay.
they're behind the doors.
The reason I asked it, like for the listeners out there, this looks like it looks more in the genre of like the ones you
I've
buy in
seen
the
them
test
at,
tubes, the one you buy in the tubes. You know
I've
what I
seen
mean?
them
Like
at
It doesn't look
Walgreens.
like a liquor thing.
I've seen them at
like-
Walgreens by those mini wines.
right.
They sell,
It doesn't look like something they'd refrigerate.
I just
It
don't
looks
think I've
something
seen
they
like
keep by the counter.
anything in a serving size that small.
That's
unless it
probably
was like apple
is that
juice.
5 ounce?
20% alcohol, 200 milliliters.
Damn,
You think
20%.
anybody like super fucks with buzz balls and like they get like a stack every morning? Just like, yo,
Oh, I don't know.
buy out the buzz balls because they're alcoholics. and
It's
just
called
like,
a buzz ball, dude.
Yeah.
It's a shape like a ball, and it gives you a buzz. Buzz
I was
ball.
gonna say genius. But
Yeah, but you know, the savant of beverages, and that's clearly something you should drink on your lunch break at your corporate job. I think
Yeah.
you specifically should take that up.
I could get away with that. It doesn't look at all like but I've never seen that where I'm from. That's ridiculous.
That's some LA shit, man. We don't fuck with that shit
Yeah, I
in
don't
Chicago,
fuck with that.
dog.
I see him. I see him.
Word?
Buzz balls. A
Yeah.
ball full of buzz. That'd be actually a cool product to do a rap promotional.
Yeah, you
song
got the
for
alliteration already in
The
place.
buzz balls.
You got,
And it could be
yeah.
like one of those choruses where it's like the buzz balls, the buzz balls, buzz balls, the buzz balls.
Yo, we
buzz
better get an
balls,
envelope
buzz
for this
balls,
podcast by buzz balls.
Buzz balls, buzz
Little
balls.
payola.
Buzz balls, the buzz balls, buzz balls.
Yeah, I better get home to a crate of buzz balls outside of our
Yeah,
door.
you heard buzz balls. Free marketing. That's the free marketing, is like gagging on it.
That would be amazing if they started giving you shit and you guys represented them, but every time you're drinking
Just
them in
make a
interviews,
sour
you're like,
face.
fucking- it's still, you're like, I love You're fucking making the worst face and clearly not enjoying it. Like, I love buzz balls.
Drink buzz balls.
You fucking throw
It'll
up
get
real
you
quick.
drunk. It won't.
And throwing up and hocking up loogies and chasing it with water and just fucking, I love buzz balls. Buzz balls are
Finish
great.
the ad drinking a water bottle.
Just the stand-in is an actual tennis ball for the promo shot.
Yeah, you definitely would just end up drinking like some other beverage out of the buzz ball container.
Have a ball, man.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's a lazy slogan.
It's a lazy title.
Buzz balls, have a ball. I'm gonna give it the cleverness.
Give it a 4.
I think the first time you said it, it sounded lazy, but now that you say it again, have a ball, and like you're you're drinking it, and it's shape of a ball, and you're having one. Like I think
I
it's
can
actually
say
pretty
with
good.
certitude,
pretty
this
good
is the most
slogan.
anybody's ever
make a
dissected the
fucking
buzz
point.
balls.
I think it's pretty
If I
good.
was the guy selling these, I'd go, here, have a ball.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, that is good.
I don't mean a ball, I mean a ball.
Nah,
they're
man, I
actually
said
they're
A
actually
blank.
taking. It's like they're taking ownership of a phrase that we already all know. You know.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I said a Blinken.
Did you say Abe Lincoln? Yeah. That's disgusting. Just finish it. I'm shocked, honestly, that buzz balls
Oh no!
solicit. Yeah, he did. He drank it all. I can't believe
Oh
we
my
talked so
God.
much about this dumb little tennis ball.
My favorite thing.
200
Oh my god!
milliliters of
Term
conversation.
K
so
looks like he's
bad.
about to cry, dude. That was almost crying. He
'Cause,
almost
like, the
cried.
aftertaste is
weak.
like kind of nice Jolly Ranchery.
I enjoyed that
Then
whit
the
exchange because he hit
aftertaste is
you
just
hit, you hit
vodka.
him with like a little bit of peer pressure, like drink it, and then he fucking, of course, like he directly
That wasn't
did
serious, bro. You didn't have to do that.
Regretting-
But the look,
Caving to the
the
peer
look. If you
pressure.
guys have ever seen a man about to cry and trying not to cry at a sad movie, that's the face that Term
It's the worst.
just had.
Is it weird that I feel like there's a moment in any movie of any genre where like I could cry? Like there's always
I cry way too much. To the movie.
like there's
Really?
like comedies and there's like that moment that's sentimental at the end. That's the callback from the beginning.
Right,
And
right.
I don't cry, but I'm sitting there just like my lip quivers and I'm like, oh, they did it, man. That was good. I feel it. But like I'll be watching some garbage ass film and there's like a moment and I'm like, oh, dude,
I
stop
don't
it.
necessarily cry at garbage, but that
There's
is
like always
an
I'm a
easy,
pussy.
thing for me to tell, like if something was good, was like if it made me well up at any point,
Yeah.
which enough shit.
I feel like I've gotten those
got
moments from
emotionally
weird,
involved.
obscure shit that wasn't that dramatic, or it's just like well done, but like not some knockout. Goodwill Hunting, you know you're gonna cry.
I like going up at movies.
Do you cry when you watch Goodwill Hunting? Come on, be honest.
To be honest with you, I don't know if I've seen that movie all the way through.
Oh.
Robin Williams is telling him.
It's like
Where
me with
Matt,
8
Matt,
Mile.
Matt Damon is a math
you
genius,
looked at
right?
one
Yeah.
painting in my office.
I've
and
definitely
tore my fucking heart
Matt-
out.
I've definitely
Damon.
seen it, and they get in a fight at the bar.
If you don't cry when Robin Williams talks to him on the park bench,
Yeah.
you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know that I cried.
That's
but
Wax's
I also don't,
homework.
I don't
I didn't cry,
remember.
but, like,
Go
I
watch
missed
that
up.
movie and don't cry.
And that kind of shit in a movie like that, when it makes me missed up or something, will make me smile like ear to ear.
My thing,
Because
you know,
in
this
the moment I'll think,
this may be,
I know that's Robin Williams, and Robin Williams is making liquid come into my eyes right now. And then at the same time, it's enjoyable. Like I smile.
I'd have to go back and
'cause
watch
it's
it.
so
Like a
well
happy,
done, yeah.
sad. I've never watched a movie where I'm just like, I probably have once or twice, but like
Yeah.
where I'm just like,
Right.
But I'll cry because it's
Dog.
such an accomplishment from the writer or the actor.
Have you ever seen Dear
Cinema
Zachary?
Paradiso.
The documentary Dear
I have
Zachary?
about the guy he marries the chick and she kills the kid.
Right. Well, spoiler alert. But did you cry?
No,
Dude, I wept.
I was that movie.
I cried twice, I think. I'm
That
like,
movie
how could
was
this
that
happen?
movie was overhyped to me.
I
It was
think
overhyped, and I thought it was slow moving.
I didn't
And
get.
and I hate to say something like fucking negative movie review about a real story that actually happened, but I think that movie was overhyped to me, and it moved slow, and I think somebody might have even
Did
told
not
me.
see it going.
I
When
think some-
I
I
got
think
the
I think
hype,
somebody
when
might
I
have
heard
told
it wasn't
me.
overhyped
And I mean,
to
I
me.
think I got what the fuck did you just a spoiler? I think somebody spoiled it for me.
Right. It was, I didn't get hype. I heard it was a good movie, or a very emotional movie, and I watched it, and it was just by the end of it, it was definitely it was crazy, but I think, as somebody, I guess, who studied film in colleges, I think that's one of the best uses of filming, just videography,
video.
to
It was,
commemorate
it was
somebody's
amazing.
life.
It
It's
was
so
amazing.
meaningful, and and I'm not something I don't.
Did
I have no
feel
emotions
like-
unless
I
there's
did
some
feel
shit like that. And I'm like,
if
oh my
I knew
god,
that
dude.
guy, I would like him.
Yeah.
Like it gave me.
It
that.
was I think
would-
one of the best
dude,
ways you could
yeah.
use cinema. Just why
It was
motion
amazing.
But it
picture is
also-
out
the
there.
whole
You can do
movie-
that now.
for the 90% of it is about a woman who murders her ex-boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and you think that's the story,
And that's it.
and it
And
gets
it's
to
not.
something more than that. And when it got to there, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see that coming, and at least whoever we heard it about from didn't.
I remember.
And all
I remember
hints
being.
that
It was
was
an
around the
amazing
corner.
movie, but as far as it making me physically cry, I don't believe it did.
Yeah.
I can't remember. First of all, I don't
Documentary
watch
is a
movies
little
that
worse.
much.
I think
Dude, I
that
watched-
one was the easiest one where I'm
Dude, I
like,
watched
I
the
can't
fucking,
believe I'm about to fucking cry right now. And
What the fuck was the name of that shit?
Cinema-
there's always that
Paradiso's-
moment where I feel the sentiment, and I'm like, you know what, that was really well done, but I don't cry. That shit was brutal.
There's a new joint. I have the name somewhere on my fucking.
Let's talk
The
about
True
it, guys.
Cost. Have you seen The True Cost? It's
Uh-uh.
new. It's about the fashion industry, but it goes way, way, way beyond it. It's just third world fucking enslavement and the shittiness that is capitalism. Like
Yeah.
it goes into a lot of
Wow.
different
Cool
aspects
beat.
of it. The True Cost.
Yeah,
I
I'll check it
recommend
out.
that officially.
My favorite teary ending movie is Cinema Paradiso, which
Never
I
seen it.
recommend anyone listening. It's an Italian movie. But that kind of thing is what I'm talking about, where it's like, that's a movie I have no problem with admitting that the ending makes me cry, but it's not like I have some connection to this where it's so sad that I break down crying. I just admire it from a writer's level, that the screenwriter ended that movie so brilliantly
Yeah.
that I can't help but be moved by it. And if I'm crying at the end of that movie, I'm laughing while I'm crying because I'm thinking, this motherfucker
Right.
was so good at wrapping up this
It's more like you're so
screenplay.
impressed that you could
It's an
even do
impression
that.
thing.
You get you well
Yeah.
up with whole it sends a chill down your spine or something. And that
Yeah.
you get that with music or movies or anything you feel that you're impressed and inspired by to some
Yeah,
level you haven't experienced or you've never seen somebody put on a page like that. And then when you see it, you're just like, what's happening to my face right now? They fucking did it. I don't know. Writing could do that. Just
And then-
you
or
could pack
acting
it.
when a dude you're so familiar with.
Exactly.
I know this guy's name is Daniel Day-Lewis, but somehow he transcended that to where
Yeah.
in this moment I'm convinced his name is Daniel Plainview.
Right. For 3
And
hours,
I'm
that's not an
convinced
actor.
He actually
Yeah.
abandoned his son,
Right.
who's also another actor who isn't his son. But in this moment, I could swear that was his
Yeah,
son
yeah.
because this
Yeah.
guy's acting so goddamn good.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've
That's
ever
back to what you were
watched
saying of
that movie,
find the thing you can do well and do the shit out of it. Where I'll never be even when we film music videos and stuff, I feel corny. Oh god, I like to make the music, and then this part is having to look the part. It's a level of it comes naturally, but I don't know. I don't put actors on a super pedestal, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't solicit that emotion from a viewer.
Part of my
No,
ego.
yeah, it's
That's
definitely
out.
it's definitely a real talent for sure. But it's also it's a real talent, and a talent that makes people cry, a talent that makes people emotional, which is why we revere it so much. But it's too revered. There's too many fucking award shows. There's too much self-congratulatory shit going on with that. That being said,
I still don't think like some people take it to an extreme where like they don't deserve accolades or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can have the Oscars without making these people like royalty. Some like roles or whatever I think are totally deserving of some recognition.
Yeah.
But some people. George C. Scott called it like a meat parade. Yeah. It's like, well, it doesn't have to be a meat parade. It could just be like,
but
you all agree.
It's still,
this guy was really
it's still
deserving.
fascinating.
But they make it that way. They make it that way.
Like Term K is I can't do it. Like I love movies. I studied film. But he can like name like years of Oscar stuff and what won and what like arguably should have won in comparison based on like Scorsese's Unfolding and stuff. Like I can't remember dates and like he's a savant with the fucking Oscars.
I find it entertaining on a thing of like I don't hold like I like to make my own opinions and compare something, but I don't hold it like it's definitive. If I have a different opinion than what they chose, it's like it doesn't change my opinion or something. And I'm not like hell bent that they were wrong. I like to have whatever opinion I had, but it's also like a thing of.
Like, I have my opinions. I just can't remember, like, the other shit in the best film category and stuff. I'm like, I don't remember what year what was.
That's how I, for a long time, discovered movies, was I went on IMDb, you can go on, like, the history of the Oscar Awards every year and see what was nominated and what won.
Yeah.
For a long time, when I got into movies, that's what I would do. I would go every year, watch all the best pictures, and figuring... if it's nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars,
it's at least a good
fucking
movie.
Suck.
Yeah. Probably doesn't suck.
Some of them do suck.
Yeah.
But the majority of them, 80% or so, are good films that I would have never seen if it wasn't for this, backslapping culture of award shows. Like that's the value I see in them.
I think there is value.
It doesn't mean that they're just because this movie, like Argo, won Best Picture. I didn't agree. That doesn't mean that there isn't a better picture from this year of movies than this one, but it does mean that this category is a good handful of movies to choose from if you got nothing to watch. It's like that's where my research of like the Oscars kind of started, and then it kind of just changed into an obsession of
it's
bullshit that Denzel won. Should have gone to Tom
That's
Wilkinson.
a podcast, dude. Term K talks past Oscar winners.
Dude, if the Palmer Squares ever start their podcast, we could do just like the.
We could do a series on Oscars.
Yeah.
You could get real movie buffs following that. You know what I mean?
We said long
I don't
time
fucking
ago.
know shit. I can't remember the last time I watched a movie. Like any movie I watch is documentary.
I'm a movie nerd.
I never watched movies.
That's what our podcast will be. Is we're just gonna watch movies and queue up the start time, and then people can watch along with us while we commentate.
That was an early idea.
No,
I think
it's been
that
done.
only works with like it has been done, but also I wouldn't want to do that with like something I like.
Yeah, we
I
wouldn't
feel like
say
it would have
shit.
to. I
We'd
feel
just
like
sit there
it
and
would
watch
have to be a very, very popular movie.
Or weird.
Or
like you could do Pulp
short
Fiction
form,
or
just
some
like
shit,
the
but not
Toby
like-
Keith music video. And
That'd be good. Yeah.
Short form. We gotta stick it to short form.
But or
That's
like
actually a
shit.
good idea.
Yeah.
weird shit.
Because it's quick, and then you can talk about it after.
You know who would be your predecessor? It would be Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
You know
True.
what I'm saying?
That's where
You
it
know
comes
what?
from.
How apropos.
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
I think it started from when we watched Antichrist, which is an independent. I think a Lars von Trier movie.
Yeah.
With Willem Dafoe, and we were thinking like
William Dafoe sounds like Shia LaBeouf. Willem Dafoe.
Willem
Shia LaBeouf.
Dafoe. Shia.
We should
Willem.
start doing like this whole record the movie. We press play when you press play sort of podcast, but only because it's a movie where we heard, like.
A guy jizzes blood.
She does. Did she like hit him or something? I think she jerked him off and at the last second like hit his dick with something, and they show his dick cum blood in the movie.
Something very commentable.
Wait,
on
what movie is this?
Antichrist.
Antichrist by Lars von
What
Trier.
year is this?
2011?
Maybe 5-6 years ago. Really?
10?
They show his dick cum blood.
The movie was kind of lame, but the first 10 minutes
Yeah, the
was
opening
brilliant.
sequence was amazing.
It's
yeah.
about a couple who their toddler walks out of the window and dies. and then the couple are in a depression, and they go to some trailer or some
Therapy? Treatment?
cabin
Cabin.
to like fucking
Like a retreat.
like therapeutically go to some cabin. But the first scene is all black and white and slow-mo, and it's them fucking in the shower, and they show penetration and stuff, and it's going back and forth from them fucking in a shower to the toddler
Oh
in the
my
room
God.
crawling towards the window.
Holy
So the first scene I
fuck.
remember was brilliant.
And then it really kind of like.
And then the rest of the movie was just boring, and you're
That's
just waiting for a
insane,
dude
dude.
to come blood.
Holy
You
shit.
hear that it happens.
Damn, we've
So
been
then-
talking for a long time, man.
At the
Good.
end of the
Damn near 2
movie,
hours.
Yeah, you might need to edit
she
that.
hits his
I'm
dick.
not looking forward to it.
She's jerking him off.
Yeah, send this to me.
She's jerking him off, and she's at the last second when he's about to come, smashes his dick with something,
Ah!
and then they just show his dick spurt blood. Which I was wondering, like, did they really film a guy
Oh,
coming and then
they cut a
color
girl's
become
clit
blood?
off with a pair of shears.
Getting there.
All right.
And then
Sorry.
after she does that to him, I don't know what he didn't do it to her.
I'm
I
telling
think.
you, I remember
She
nothing
did it to
except
herself.
jizz blood and clit
She does
snip.
it to herself. She bashes his dick and he comes blood. And then they show her playing with her puss, and then it had to be prosthetic. They show a close up of her pussy, and she snips her clitoris off with a pair of scissors.
It's a bad bitch, man. I married that bitch.
And that's all I remember about the movie.
And
Yeah,
on
I-
that note,
I gotta piss really bad.
me too. Me
True.
too.
But this is really random. I'm gonna see how this edits together. I think we got better towards the end. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Hey, do what you want. Release 20 minutes. Release all of it.
We'll
Release
figure it out.
all.
We'll figure it out.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
No, yeah.
Cool.
This is
You guys want to plug anything or anything like that?
honorable.
Like your
to say the
fucking
least.
pages, Twitter.
Yeah, we're Palmer Squares on Twitter. The Palmer Squares on Facebook. And we just released a new mixtape called In Context. And for people who already fucks with that, come December, hopefully, we'll be releasing a new full-length album called Planet of the Shapes.
Yeah, we're working on
Planet of the Shapes. That's
yeah.
awesome. You guys are fucking awesome with your titles.
Thank you, man. We
Best title.
It's the pending title.
we don't have a
is
release date
for
yet,
now.
but we were shooting for like
Planet of
end of the
Shapes.
year, early 2016, to drop our next full length thing. So that's really all there is on the promotion tip. And if we're able to figure out our travel situation and market ourselves, maybe we'll be in a city near you sometime soon. But
All
Palmer
right.
Squares.
I mean, this was kind of also this whole LA thing was kind of a trial run for some future shit. So
See if people
You're
show
one of
up.
those
See if
people
people will
tweeting
come see
Right,
us. See if they want to buy
constantly
shirts.
come
What
to our
does it look
city.
like?
you know, hopefully we'll be there soon. That this was sort of a predecessor to that.
Yeah, and shout out Big Wax for letting us do his podcast over here.
Hey man, good to have you guys,
Shout
man.
out Shia LaBeouf.
Not used to having the guests, man. It was fun. Good
Yeah,
time.
man. Thank you.
Drank beer the whole time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm about to piss in
I'm
my
definitely
shorts.
certainly less sober now than we were at the start.
Yeah.
Buzzball, son.
But,
It's a buzzballs.
Shout out Buzzballs. Go get them at buzzballs.com. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Be safe out there.